I've struggled with anxiety, and maybe you have too. The racing heart, the overthinking, the sinking feeling that something's about to go wrong, even when everything seems fine on the outside. Each time I feel all of these things, I turn to Google, I turn to my friends, I turn to other people to ask that what can I really do to get better, to like I ask people to help me understand my anxiety and help me find ways to get better and get through it. So this time, instead of asking Google, instead of asking anybody, I'm gonna ask AI, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to help me understand my anxiety, and what it told me has honestly changed the way I look at it. So let's get into another episode of Getting Better Together, where this time we take help from ChatGPT to understand anxiety and find ways to get better together. Okay. So the first thing that I really want to know is that what is really anxiety? I mean, a lot of times you feel like you are experiencing a couple of emotions, but you're not really experiencing that. And labeling the emotion correctly and knowing what to do about it is the first and the foremost step to actually get past something. So we need to understand that the kind of feeling that is happening inside us, is it even anxiety or is it something else? Let's just get into video by asking ChatGPT what is anxiety and how do you know that you are anxious. Okay, all right. Okay, so the response I got is that anxiety is your brain's way of trying to protect you. It's a part of your survival system, the fight or flight response designed to keep you safe from threats. But here's the catch: your brain just can't always tell the difference between real danger and imagined fears. So when there is no actual threat, your body still reacts sometimes as if there is. Anxiety, in its essence, is your body's way of saying that something might go wrong, so you better stay alert. And the problem begins when this alarm system just does not go off. I think yeah, I just really explained it very well, because what happens with me during when I'm feeling anxious, sometimes it's very difficult for me to understand it. Why am I actually feeling this way? Because nothing is really wrong, and people around me also keep asking me the same questions that you, what happened to you? Everything is absolutely fine. Your life is fine. Your work's fine. Your relationships are fine. So why are you feeling this way? What's really happening with you? Well, I just don't know how to really pinpoint to what's happening, but sometimes it's a very random flash of memory, or sometimes it's just something that happened years ago. Sometimes it's something in the room which just triggered me and brought back my past, and then I start feeling like, what if it happens again, or what if something goes wrong again? So anxiety basically is just actually an alarm that starts in my head when I feel triggered, or when I'm reminded of something, when I'm actually reminded of something, and it just doesn't go off, and then it takes over me completely. So I think ChatGPT summarized it really well, that what anxiety is. So yeah, I mean, excellent response is what I would say. So I'll move on to section 2, where I actually ask ChatGPT that why do these thoughts feel so real? Because even when you're anxious, right, and it's not the first time that you're anxious, and everybody wants to really get better. Nobody wants to just like stay in that mood. And when you're anxious and when you're feeling all of those things, you keep on finding different ways to get out of it. You keep rationalizing your thoughts in your head all the time, that this is not real, this happened a year ago, and you're safe now, and this is not going to happen again, or this is just your imagination playing with you. Do not take it so personally. All of this rationalizing, everything, it still just does not help. So I want to ask ChatGPT that why do these thoughts feel so real that you just can't get over them? Okay, here we go. Why do these thoughts feel so real? All right. Okay, interesting response. So, what I learned right now is that anxious thoughts feel real because your brain treats them like facts. Okay, well, makes sense, right? I mean, unless something feels so real that you absolutely know that, what, this is something which has happened, or this is something which is going to happen, like it's a fact, you just don't won't feel so strongly about it, or you won't have that alarm going in your head. So yeah, when you imagine the worst case scenarios, your body can physically respond, right? Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense up, you feel something in your stomach, your breath shortens. This is all called a cognitive distortion, a pattern where your mind just exaggerates fears, assumes the worst, or believes that it knows that what others are thinking, what's happening, everything, all of this. So he has actually given three very interesting distortions of anxiety, and we'll just get through them. The first one is catastrophing, that what, it is going to be a disaster. That's the first pattern. And yeah, makes sense. Like sometimes you just like think of something that, what, I this interview is just going to be a disaster, I'm not going to get through it. Or you know what, this recipe is just going to be super horrible, or this event that I'm throwing is just nobody's going to like it, and this dress that I'm wearing is just this, I'm going to look so stupid in front of all these people. So those thoughts that you know what, it is just going to be a disaster, the catastrophizing all of these thoughts is the first kind of anxiety that people have. The second is the black and white thinking. I'll either succeed or I'm a failure, and there's nothing in middle. You know how when you enter a certain situation, or like maybe start a new business, or start a new venture, or go out on a trip or something, or maybe enter a new relationship for that matter, sometimes you just don't see any other way apart from it being successful or it being a failure. Maybe it's just for fun, or maybe it's just something you're learning along the way, or it's just a lesson. But we don't want to accept that. We just have this thought in our head going that you know what, it's either gonna work out. I mean, it's either gonna be super successful, or I am a super failure. And that's just a horrible feeling, right? That if you do not get through it, you are just not worth it. You're a failure, you're stupid. And trust me, those feelings can be really bad. So yeah, I mean, that's the another kind of anxiety a lot of people feel. And the third thing is mind reading, where you just overread the room, overread every person in front of you. Like, you know what, this person must be judging me. You know what, this person must not love me. You know what, this person must be cheating on me, or they're not smiling, so they are like not happy with me, or they are in this mood. So just all of just over analyzing the entire room and over analyzing everybody around you, that's another kind of anxiety that people have. So recognizing these patterns, recognizing the kind of anxiety you have, is the first step to break through it, is the first step to actually understand that you know what, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing the black and white thinking, I am doing the mind reading, I am catastrophizing my own brain, and this is where I need to stop. So this is how you understand your own patterns and then try to get better, right? Okay, so we'll move on to the third question that I want to ask ChatGPT. And my question is that, okay, fine, I understood those patterns, I understood what anxiety is, but then why does it keep coming back? I have rationalized my mind, I have rationalized my thoughts, right? I know for a fact that, okay, you know what, these thoughts are not real. These people are not judging me. Or even if I do not succeed in this project or in this relationship or wherever, I'm still not a failure. But then why do these thoughts keep coming back again and again? So I want to understand this from ChatGPT and see what response do I get. Okay, so why does anxiety creep in? Okay, yeah, sorry. I mean, I already sort of knew what ChatGPT is going to say because I've researched so much about it, but it's good to know that the response is exactly what I already knew. What ChatGPT said, that anxiety often becomes a habit loop, which is correct, right? When you worry, your brain temporarily feels like it's doing something about the problem. And this just gives the brain a short term sense of relief. But long term, it actually strengthens the worry habit. The brain learns that worry is equal to control. So even though worry will rarely solve the problem, our brain keeps returning to it because it feels like this is a familiar way to solve, or this is the only way to like get through it. So yeah, I mean, to break this loop, you need to stop these thoughts immediately. And how can you do that? You need to disrupt the pattern and teach your brain a new response. What interesting is that each time we start feeling anxious and we go start worrying about it, right? You just sit quietly and then you are in your own thoughts, or you start pacing around the room, or maybe you start eating, or I don't know, different stuff, right? But all of that, and in your head you're just worrying about stuff. You're like, you know what, this happened and that happened, and then all the memories, they just keep coming in your head, or all the possible things, that worst things that you can imagine about a situation or a person or anything. It just floods your whole mind, and then you are like, you know what, this is going to happen and I'm not going to succeed, and all of these things, right? This is, you start to understand that, okay, you know what, you're feeling this way, you know what, you're doing this. So what do you do to actually not worry and do something else about it? Maybe you go take a walk, maybe you paint, maybe you write it down. But you can't just, you won't feel better when you do it once. You'll be like, I don't feel great, I wrote it down, I still feel that way. I wrote it down the second time, I still feel that way. I wrote it down the third time, I still feel that way. 10th time, okay, you know what, I'm still also worried. Maybe the 11th time is where you just write it down and then you're over it. Maybe the 12th time is when you just like take a walk and you're like, okay, it was not that hard, I'm not feeling that way anymore. So we have spent years of our life actually worrying about things, and then you know thinking all just like thinking and rethinking and overthinking again and again until our brain has just fried up. So you cannot just break years of habit with a 10-day exercise, right? We have to keep going on for months maybe to actually develop a new habit, which is not worrying, because it's the easiest way actually what a brain thinks, that you just have to sit and think. But that's not helping anybody. That's just making you feel more and more exhausted each day. So yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to learn how to break the pattern. We need to learn how to break this habit and develop a new habit. I'll move on to another question with ChatGPT, which is, what can I actually do about it? Okay, fine. My problem is that I worry a lot. What do I do about it? Like, what do I do about it? What do I actually do? So yeah, let's move on. Okay, so if I'm stuck, what can I actually do about it? All right. Okay. So ChatGPT has actually given me three ways to manage my anxiety and feel better in the situation. So, first of all, it says that ground yourself in the present. Focus on your senses. Ask, what can I see, touch, hear, smell, taste right now? This interrupts the worry loop and brings the mind back to the present moment. Well, I've tried this a couple of times and it actually like breaks the pattern for a split second. But there have been also times when I've actually like broken the pattern for a couple of seconds and then gone back to the original thought. But again, there's no harm in trying. So if you can actually, if you're someone who's been meditating for a long time and then you can actually sit with yourself and then think, like, focus on your senses and smell and eat something and taste it and just feel all everything around you, then I think this is a great one to break the worry thought and move past it. Okay, the second thing is breathe slowly and deeply. Now, this is absolutely helpful. I've personally tried it. I mean, I do it all the time. Every time I'm anxious, I would just like, even if I'm thinking, I would first sit and do deep breathing to calm myself down, because I'm just feeling so much in the stomach and in my head and in my chest. I would be like, I'm feeling so much everywhere that I would be like, you know what, if I do not breathe right now, I might not be able to breathe. The first thing that I actually do is I sit quietly and I start breathing. I start focusing on my breath. I do deep breathing. So it actually helps my body calm down, even if it doesn't help my mind. And the third thing is reframe the thought. No, this actually makes sense, and I think a lot of you must already be doing that, because I definitely do this. That, you know what, that asking your mind that, is this thought a fact or is this just my fear speaking? And then I challenge the thought gently, like you would like just how you would do if your friend is having the same worry. So I'm like, how is it going to affect you, Tulika? How is it that something which happened like 15 years ago or 10 years ago is still relevant in your life anymore? You have power and you have control, and you are in this situation and you're winning in life. You've moved past it, and that's already success, right? And then I try to reframe those thoughts and then do deep breathing along with it, and it really helps me, most not if all the time, but yeah, a couple of times it really helps me get better and just feel a little better about the whole situation or my anxiety for that matter. So yeah, I mean, that's what I learned from ChatGPT today, that what is anxiety, how can we control it, what should we do about it, and that's all. So AI is not going to magically fix your anxiety. It's not going to give you the ultimate solution of how to get better, but it will help you understand it better. You can keep asking it more questions and it can keep giving you more perspective, or it can just help you reframe those thoughts if you can't do it yourself. And sometimes, understanding is just the first step towards healing. It needs to remind you that your anxiety is not what you are. You are what you are, right? It is just an alarm, and like any other alarm, it needs to go off. It needs to just like shut down so you can just be in peace quietly, and all it's like a huge noise in your head, right? And you cannot live in noise all the time. So that's what you need to remind yourself, and that's what you need to solve for. So I would like to conclude this video by saying that thank you for being here. Thank you for being curious and for being willing to get better with me. I will see you in the next video where we find more ways to get better together. Until then, stay happy and all love to you. Bye bye.